What's up, everybody? Today I'm going to break down how much it costs to buy a home in North Carolina. Let's get started. So I'm going to go ahead and have a house price of $200,000. Just a good round number to start off with. And the first thing we're going to look at is your loan type. So at this point, you should have already have gotten a loan, been pre-approved for loan. There's a VA loan, FHA loan, conventional loan, USDA loan. So I'm going to go with FHA loan, which is typically 3.5%, North Carolina, just about any state, it's 3.5%. So 3.5% of $200,000 would be $7,000. So that's how much you would have to put down as a down payment if you're going FHA loan. Of course, if you're using a VA loan, USDA loan, it's 0%. And I have a video right up there about that. So that goes more detail about those type of loans. And if you are using a conventional loan, I've also got a video about that also, and not to plug another video, but that video talks about that right up here also. Like I said, we'll go FHA loan, 3.5% should be $7,000. So once we're under contract, if your realtor puts in an offer at a house, you're in a contract now. So your realtor should be explaining to you about due diligence money and earnest money. And I'll explain a little bit about it. And again, I've got videos about those also. So I'll put them in there, right up there. What due diligence money is this the time, well, you give them money to take the house off the market. And this time is when you're going to do home inspections. You're going to do pest inspections, any kind of inspections you need to do. Also, which comes out of your pocket for these inspections to be conducted. During this due diligence period, due diligence money, it can range from $0 to up to thousands of dollars. So there's no set amount on due diligence money that I can tell you. It all depends on the market. Right now, the market is very hot. So you're looking at a couple thousand of due diligence money.
Are you sure?
Oh, for argument's sake of this example, I'm just going to put $1,000 for due diligence money. So now we're looking at $8,000 you've already come out of pocket. Earnest money also, there's no set amount for earnest money either. It could be $0, it could be $1,000. So it also depends on the market. And that is kind of like a second deposit. And I've got a video about that also right up there. So please check out those videos if you want more in-depth education about those. So with the earnest money being $1,000, so now we're looking at almost $9,000 that you're going to need. So once you've given your due diligence money, you're giving your earnest money now. Due diligence money goes straight to the buyer. So whatever money you give them, it goes straight to the buyer. They can cash your check. The earnest money goes to your closing attorney, and it's put into a trust account. And they don't get that money until closing. Or if you don't close on the house and you're past your due diligence period, they will get that if you don't close on a house and you terminate the contract.
Are we clear?
So you want to make sure that doesn't happen to you, and your realtor should be watching that out for you also. Next thing we talk about is home inspections. Now, you're not required to get a home inspection in North Carolina, but I highly, highly suggest it.
Are you sure?
And the reason why I suggest it is because it could be a brand new home, it could be a house that's 100 years old. You need to know what's wrong with the house. There's always going to be issues with a house. I don't care how new it is or how old it is. And it could be minor stuff, and it could be something major. Externally looking outside the house, you may walk around the house with your realtor, look at the roof, look at the HVAC, and just look at stuff like that, and it may look fine. But you don't know what's going on under the crawl space, what's going on in the walls. You don't know how the water is, how the electrical wires are set up. And a home inspector is going to do all this for you. They're going to look at all this and tell you what they think is wrong with the house or what they found that's wrong with the house. And usually the cost of a home inspection is about $350. That could vary. If the house is a larger house and if you've got to spend more time in the house, of course, the price could go up, but on average, about $350. The next inspection is a pest inspection or termite inspection. That's usually about $75. And that could vary also, depending on what company you go with. Each of these companies is different, but roughly about $75, which you definitely want. You want them to check for termites and for any kind of pest. So if there are any issues, you can ask the seller to repair this. So now you got your home inspection back and you got your pest inspection back. Now, the thing you want to do next is get with your realtor, or your realtor should be getting with you, and telling you these are the issues they found. Now, at this point, you guys want to sit down and discuss what you want the seller to fix, what you don't want the seller to fix. And they also have an option of they don't have to fix anything in the house. This is a buyer beware state, caveat emptor. So that means basically they don't have to fix anything. They do have to disclose things to you. So if there's something wrong with the house that's a material fact, they should have told you this earlier on before you purchased the house if they knew about it. Sometimes things they don't know about, it could be a crack in the foundation, they wouldn't know that until you go into the crawl space possibly and see that there's a big old crack in there. So it has to be a material fact that they should have known. If they didn't know, they didn't know. On negotiations, they may say, hey, we'll fix this, but we won't fix that. Or they may ask for, a price change in the house to fix certain things. It all depends. And that's when we start negotiating, like I said. Once you get past all the negotiations, pretty much here after that, if you're still going to close on the house, you're going to move forward, then the next cost is going to be an appraisal. And what an appraisal is this. It's if you're getting a loan, not a cash buy, if you're getting a loan, the bank's going to want to make sure the house is worth $200,000. If it's only worth $195,000, they're only going to loan you $195,000. So that means either you have to come out of pocket the other $5,000, or we go back to the negotiation table again, and either you could pay $2,500, they could pay $2,500, or there's no set amount, but we'd have to negotiate again. In my opinion, I would not pay more for a house than it's worth. If the appraisal says it's worth $195,000, why would you want to pay $5,000 more for the house? But of course, it's up to you as a buyer. It could be the house that you've always wanted and you can live there forever and you don't care. All up to you though. So once you get past that, you're probably asking, are there any other hidden fees? And I wouldn't say there are hidden fees, more of depending on what type of house you buy. If you buy a house out in a rural area, country area, you're probably gonna have a well and a septic. So if you want those things fixed or looked at, serviced, then it's come out of pocket. So for a water test, and most loans are going to require a water test, and they want to test for the chemicals in the water to make sure they're good and they're good for you. So depending on your lender, they may request a water test. Usually they run about $150, and it varies, but that's about an average for a water test where I'm at. So once you get a water test and there's an issue with the water, again, they're going to probably ask the seller to fix this water issue. And we go back again to the negotiation table possibly. Also, there could be, like I said, there could be a septic. And typically we recommend you get a septic tank pumped every 5 years. So let's say before you even get that far, possibly have your realtor ask the listing agent, hey, when was the last time the septic's been pumped? It's been...
Shitter was full! Yeah.
It's been, more than 5 years. You may want to ask them to pump it. Possibility they may put a cost on you. And that's something you should think about. Other hidden fees could be if you buy a house with a pool and you want the pool cleaned and serviced. That could fall on you also. If you want a survey done, that's going to come out of your pocket. Another thing people ask a lot is, what about the buyer commission? How much is your commission? And as a buyer, typically you're not paying the commission of that agent. What? And in some scenarios, you could be paying for the buyer commission. If you are looking at what we call a FSBO, which stands for sale by owner, that means we have an owner who's not using a realtor and they decided to list the house and sell it they're on their own. Obviously, they're trying to cut cost out, so they may not offer to pay the commission. Typically, that's something your realtor is going to discuss with the seller. So that's up to them. Typically, as if I'm a buyer and I've worked with two for sale by owners, I would reach out to them first. Hey, look, I'm a realtor. I've got a buyer interest in your house. Are you willing to pay my commission? And hash that over the phone first, because if they're not, and your buyer doesn't want to pay the commission, then there's a reason to go look at the house. So we're past all those hidden fees that could or could not come up. And the last thing is your closing costs. So looking at your closing costs, Typically, it's going to be 2 to 3% of the sale price of the house. So the house is $200,000, typically 3%, which would be about $3,000. And of course, this could vary also. It all depends on your lender, because it could be fees that you're not aware of that your lender may or may not have. The lender can give you a better estimate of how much your closing costs are going to be. I typically say about 3%, and that's on the high end, but I rather tell you it's a higher number. So when you get to the table, you're not surprised of some, extra money you may not have known about. But your lender's going to tell you a better estimate, and it's hard to determine ahead of time because the interest rates could go up, they could go down. You're also looking at taxes and insurance and stuff like that could play a big part of how much closing costs could be. Adding all this up, you're probably looking at about $13,000 if you're looking at buying a $200,000 house. And of course, these prices could vary. Like I said earlier, loan type, FHA is 3.5%. You could go conventional loan and only pay 3%. You could go conventional, pay 5%, 15%, or 20%, and it's going to go up. Of course, if you use a USDA loan or a VA loan, then your down payment is going to be zero. So that saves you $7,000 right there. You're probably asking, what about down payment assistance programs? Don't you have that? I'm a first-time buyer. And actually we do. And that's another video that's right there. They're offered to first-time buyers and if you're even not a first-time buyer. So there's a lot of stipulations on that also, and you have to check out that video right there. Don't make your closing costs. You could ask your seller to pay for your closing costs. And if they do that, that's great. Knock out that price, they may pay half of your closing costs. It all depends on the market. And right now, we're in a very hot market at the time of this video. So I have not had a lot of sellers offer to pay closing costs. But you may find that one house that's been on the market for quite a while, maybe it's a fixer-upper, and the seller is willing to pay your closing costs or some of your closing costs.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
Real estate, there really is no way to say how much you may or may not pay. It fluctuates a lot, and it all depends on a lot of negotiations. If you're looking to buy or sell a house in the Fayetteville surrounding areas, please reach out to me. I'd love to help you. Hope this video was beneficial to you. See you guys in the next one.